are going to get started with today's webinar. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for our third and final session of our TT Live Autospreader webinar series. Today, we will cover some more advanced use cases of Autospreader, going through how it can be used with TT's other automated tools such as Aggregator, ADL, which is our Algo Design Lab, and .NET SDK, which is one of our trading APIs. While we will not be taking questions live today, please feel free to submit any questions you have during the session, and we will respond to you after the webinar is complete, just like we did for the previous one. We will also be recording this webinar, and the link will be sent out to everyone who registered for it. Today's session is going to be led by Brian Snezak, who you might remember from all our previous webinars. He is a training and user experience specialist at TT and has been with us for 5 years, prior to which he was a user of the platform and has deep understanding of the workings of TT. With that, Brian, all yours.
Thank you, Ami. Hello, all. Thank you all for joining. I'm excited today to go through our third of this series, Advanced Use Cases of Autospreader. Before I do that, as Ami said, we will always post these webinars on our website. You can find that here under Resources and Webinars right here. You'll see the upcoming webinars, the ones today, and the links to all the ones that we've set up already. This one, it takes a little time. Should be up in about a week or so. And with that, we should then have it posted. Like I said, in the first two, we did the first one was the basics of Autospreader. It was called Fundamentals of Autospreader from a few weeks back. Here, we talked about the benefits of spread trading using Autospreader. We had arbitrage, hedging, correlation trades, rolling futures position instead of using a calendar spread, using the outrights for better liquidity, market making, liquidity provision. We touched on how to configure an Autospreader as well. We went through all the different settings within the ASC configuration window, the Autospreader configuration window. We touched on ratio, which indicates the quantity of each leg to be bought or sold in relation to each other. We covered the multiplier. The multiplier is used to adjust the pricing of one or more legs. We went over the pay-up ticks. Pay-up ticks specify an acceptable amount of slippage allowed to establish the hedge once it's released. Active quoting on one or more of the legs of the Autospreader. And we covered the override tick size as well there. The next one that we went to was the use cases of Autospreader. We covered 6 different spreads in that one, and they were across multiple exchanges and product classes, and they had different variables to them, depending on what they were trying to do. We had 2 that covered a currency pricing leg. We had the London Cocoa and the China Crude, where we had to add a leg that we weren't actually trading off of, just using to help bring the currency conversion in so that we could trade it in the currency that we wanted. We also had a energy spread that needed a ratio and multipliers calculated. That was the heating oil to the gas oil. That is the HOGO. There was a ratio of 3 to 4, and we discussed how to get the multiplier there. We also had an arb trade of the same instrument on 2 different exchanges to show that capability. We did the mini S&P. We had that on CME, and we had it on B3. We also had 2 treasury order spreaders as well. First one we set up was how to set up a treasury with yield to view the order pricing in yield terms. So there we had a 5-year cash versus a 5-year future, but we were able to calculate and configure the yield and then add that to the Autospreader, and then we could actually view that in yield terms. And then lastly, we had a treasury spread in net change. So that was just a simple knob. It was the 30-year versus the 10-year in the futures, and we used the price formula there in net change, in ticks, so we could see it in that manner instead of seeing it in the price differential. So going over today's webinar, we'll cover more advanced uses of Autospreader and explain how it can be used in conjunction with TT's other automated tools, including Aggregator and Algo Design Lab. All right, so as I spoke on, we'll start with Aggregator here and how Aggregator works. So Aggregator is a tool which allows a trader to take prices from different exchanges and combine them into a single synthetic market. This allows the trader to place an order across multiple exchanges with a single click. Combining this with Autospreader, you can create a synthetic spread using an aggregator instrument as one of the legs of the spreads. So with Aggregator, we'll first have to set that up. So I think it's good for us to speak on Aggregator, and it has some similarities to the Autospreader configuration, but then of course it has certain ones that are particular to Aggregator. So we'll touch on this real quick, this slide, and then I'll go over to the platform. We'll take a look. You'll see though that there is a ratio for Aggregator. Again, number of contracts working each leg. There is a price offset, adjustment of each leg price. This allows you to adjust the price of each leg by a set number of ticks. You usually do set this to 0 though. Then we have the multiplier. This is used to adjust the display price of each leg, with the goal being to have them all display in the same format. And then once we configure that, we'll need to go into how the taking and the joining will work. You need to set the aggregator's behavior for joining. That's the resting orders in the market, and taking, trying to achieve an instant fill by hitting or lifting. We'll discuss taking first. There's 3 rules that you can use there. Rank ratio is assigned to each component of the leg. Rank ratio is assigned to each leg of the aggregator. So whichever one is in leg 1, it would route there first, and then it would route to the second leg, and so forth. Split ratio, as a default, split ratio will look to allocate the required size evenly across each leg. And size ratio works in almost the identical manner to split ratio. However, the ratio is determined by quantity available on each leg. And we'll look at this once we get in there. And then joining. Joining also has a couple of rules, how the aggregator will distribute the order quantity across the component legs when working orders in the market. So split ratio there when joining works in identical manner as when it's used for taking. So the same way, split ratio again, if you set it 50-50, it'll put half on one exchange, half on the other. And then there's a PIQ, position and queue. This is designed to split the quantity across each leg, weighting the leg with the smallest quantity available, assuming that by being closer to the front of the queue, you are more likely to get filled on that first leg. So like I said, let's take a look at this actually on the TT platform. All right, once again, I brought up the aggregator right here, and this is the existing one. I'll just create one as well real quick. Just like Autospreader, you hit create, and it opens it up right here. I would give it a name, whatever I wanted to. And then from here, I would bring in the contracts. Same idea as with the Autospreader. So if I wanted to bring in crude, I could simply do that. Bring in the crude contract. So again, here's the taking, the rank ratio. This is saying that first it's going to go ahead and put all the volume right there onto the CME. And then after that, it would put it on the ice. I can then do split ratio, and then this opens up right here. Here's a 1-to-1, but if I needed to, I could set that differently. So it's not doing 1-to-1. I could do 2-to-1 if I wanted to. And then size ratio right here, or I'm actually going ahead and putting the full ratio there. We're just going to keep it simple on the rank ratio, and then on the joining as well, on the split ratio. We're just going to keep this as a rebalance here. It'll go ahead and rebalance after 1 millisecond. And then here's the ratio that we talked about before, 1-to-1. Price offset, we're going to keep it 0. And the multiplier, same contract, just on different exchanges. Bring this off to the side at the moment. And let's just go ahead and launch this so we know what it looks like. All right, so here's the Autospreader. Ooh, I launched the wrong one. Sorry about that. Let's go ahead and launch the aggregator that we wanted. Okay, so I did adjust my MD Trader to be able to display the aggregator columns. You can do that by right-clicking and going down to Settings, MD Trader. And then you come down to right here, Show Aggregated Leg Columns. And then do save that as a default. If you are going to be using aggregator, obviously if it doesn't have an aggregated legs, it doesn't show anything, but do click that on if you're going to use aggregator, apply, and then save it as a default. And then anytime you open up anything that has an aggregated product on an MD Trader, it'll open up there with each of the legs showing as well. All right, if I want to go ahead and buy one, we're just going to come down here, click in the buy column. And there you go. It actually released it out right here on the ice leg. So I'm working this order right here on ice. If it gets filled, and that's the end of the order right here. So that's a basic aggregator right there. That's how aggregator works. Once again, I have the different columns here showing I'm working ICE and CME, creating this aggregated market right here. You can see it's pretty close as well. It's right on. It's a good chance for arbitrage as well using aggregator like this. And we'll go into a little bit later how we could use ADL to then go ahead and the moment it gets filled, release a profit. All right, next I think it's great for us to talk about using aggregator as a leg of Autospreader. So here I have one that's already created, and I'll open this up. So here's the Autospreader, and then here let me open up the aggregator that it comes from as well. So what this is, the aggregator right here, we took the ICE Brent and the CME Brent, and we just created the July versus each other right here, same as the last aggregator. There's the market. But then what I did here was I created a role. So currently my position, I'm inside the June ICE Brent, and I've created an Autospreader that'll allow me to then exit out of here on a roll and then enter in to the best market available on either CME and ICE. I'm indifferent on where I end up getting into. I just want to get the best price possible. So what I did was right here on leg one, you scroll down to this area on Autospreader. You select aggregator, and then you scroll, and you find the one that you're looking for. Like I said, I already have this built, so I'm not going to touch it. Ratio is 1-to-1, pretty simple here, price differential. We're only going to be actively quoting on this June because I need to exit out of this position before I take a position there. Enable hedging is on, pretty simple, straightforward. And here you see that market. So now I'll go ahead and I'll launch this Autospreader. All right, so here are the legs. So I launched it with the legs. Here's the outright June that I need to do. And then here you see the aggregator leg. And again, working as it did before. And then here's my Autospreader right here. So if I come right here, I'm going to go ahead and say buy 10. I'm bidding a little bit below at 43 right now. And I'm trying to sell my, my June Brent up here. And then that knows that it's looking across the inside market here of where it could buy to try and achieve this spread. I'm going to take this and move it into the market here. Try to get it filled. See if we could get just a couple lots filled. All right, great. So let's take a look real quick. And here you'll see my 10 lot. It went ahead and it ended up, I exited out of my June Brent, and then this entered me on the aggregator into the ICE Brent as well in July. So I did complete my role right here. So once again, I was able to place an order here on this Autospreader. It quoted on this outright to exit my June position. And then once as that filled, it then released buy orders. And with the settings I had in the aggregator, it went ahead and released those onto the ICE Brent leg. All right, let me close these out. And here, once again, we could go through the logic. You can see here, there's the Autospreader. And it went ahead and it worked right here. Once it sold those 10, it then was using the aggregator where it was releasing child orders to the ICE exchange where I was getting my fills. Okay, so next one that we can take a look at that I have pre-built already as well is an Autospreader with a cash leg for interest rates for fixed income. So here, let me just bring this up so we can see it. Again, here I created a, that's the Autospreader. Let's go to here first. All right, so I created this aggregated instrument between Fenix and Broker Tech, both cash fixed income. I created this quick. I don't know if this is something that I would actually want to trade off of this pricing, but it kind of gets the idea out there. Simple, again, rank ratio. So it's going to be going to this leg first. And then if I was being aggressive, it would split ratio as well. All right. Here is the Autospreader I created. So again, same idea. I went ahead, I added leg 1 as the aggregator leg, and then I added the outright future right there for June on the 5-year. It's making this market again. It's tradable right now, simulated. Would I be trading this in live? I'm not sure. I don't think this is a fair market, but in this simulation, I think it's a good test. All right, so let's go ahead and launch this. All right, once again, you see here's the outright leg. There's that aggregated leg again. And same idea. Go ahead, try to buy one real quick. Here I was actively quoting on the outright future. Once this gets filled, it'll go ahead. And we'll go ahead and it would release out there. There we go. We're filled, and then it filled itself quickly. And let's see, right here. Once again, aggregated leg. It went out, executed my outright future, and I actually executed this on Fenix. So there you go. All right, so this is, I'm gonna just minimize this right here. And I will open this up again real quick on the aggregator legs that we just covered. So everyone can take a quick look how that's set up. So there's the aggregator on the Treasury. Here's the aggregator on the Brent. And then here are the 2 spreads that we just had. Give everyone a moment just to take a look at that in case anybody needs to do a screen grab. We will be, again, recording this, and you can take a look at it later. But here's what we built. And then you could always adjust off of that. All right, after that, next, we're going to speak on how to incorporate TT's Algo Design Lab. We call it ADL, to combine the power and flexibility of algos with the speed and reliability of Autospreader. And we'll show some high-level examples of what we can do with that. So here, let me just go ahead, close this out, keep this clean, so when we come back, we can see. Open this up. All right. And we're going to actually move over to the ADL canvas now. So I trust everyone knows how to access that, but you can, if you're in the desktop version, you just go to Open User Setup. That will go ahead. It will open up your user setup, a new browser, but right over here, you can click ADL. And that would open up another tab right here, which would then go ahead and launch it. From here, I could go ahead and I can open any of my algos if I already have some created. And I do have some created. So I'm just going to start from here, make it easier. This is what we had earlier. Let me just show, this is the right one. Okay. So before I get into what we have built here so far, you can just drag and drop. Real simple. ADL works in that manner. Just drag and drop, and then I could go ahead and make my connections here. And that's how you bring things into the canvas. And if I wanted to copy it, I can just delete it right there, delete it there. What we have here is an instrument block, and we have a number block, and we have an order block right here. So what this is all doing right here is I've already loaded. If you click on the instrument block, you bring it here, and I have it set to order instrument, type order instrument. And this will become what's called an OTA as well. So an OTA is an algo that is allowed to be dictated by inside the actual TT platform. You could click and select this algo and use it on any market you want. Doesn't matter. Here I went ahead and I selected the instrument right here for our webinar, but then also I selected the account here as well. Here, I'm just using what's called a jump block to cut down on lines to bring it over to here. And now it's going into my order block right here. So you see right here, I'm connecting that to the instrument. And then we talked about, and then this is also another OTA. So an OTA again for the number block. Send the variable type to order price. Put its default value at 0 at the moment. And here I have another number block. This one I set to order quantity. And then once I set this, I set it to 1, how many lots I'm going to trade. And then if you see here, I have this connected to price and I have this connected to quantity. Now, to make this actually work for Autospreader, the order block has this section right here. So Autospreader, I have it on for true at the moment. If I went ahead and hit false, it would take out these different connections right here and I would lose these connections. But when it's on, it allows me to then have a connection that guides for quote fills, hedge fills, hedge add okay, which means did the hedge go out? Is it working a hedge order? And then also total fills. And then I just created here these message info extractor blocks right here. And then you could go and select what you actually want it to connect to, outputs right here. So right here, fill price, fill quantity, is it a quoting order? And I could adjust each one of these. I did this ahead of time, but then it allows me to go ahead and then take the data that is going to come from the Autospreader. It's going to come through here. Once the data gets pumped out, you'll see it'll come through this section here. And then I can parse this data and then use it inside a more complex ADL. I could create other order blocks, or I could create other, whatever I needed to. And I can then use the data that's coming out of here and then use it to build out that further ADL. So if I already have this deployed, but I would go File, Save if I needed to, but then File, Deploy. That would allow me to have it on the TT platform to use as an OTA algo. But also I could just run it through here as well. So right here, I'm just going to press play. The order went out. I'll just give it a moment to see if it gets filled, and then you'll see that it'll send the messages out here. Let's see if we got filled. If not, where's this market? All right, looks like we're still in the bid there, and now we're filled. All right, great. So let's come back to here. All right, we missed the little, it'll shoot out like a pulse this way. But you can see right here as well that now all these message info extractors have data, right? So I went out, and here, is it a quoting order? True. Fill price, there's the price, $79.98 that I got filled on, and fill quantity, 1 lot. Again, the quoting order went out. Is it it's a hedging order. Here's the hedge order that went out. Got filled at $79.98, same price, right? Fill quantity 1. Here is a hedge order. It's true. Hedge order went out. And then here it's collecting that fill. My total fill quantity right there is 1 lot. Let's take a look right there. All right, so this is a pretty simple algo. It's not doing anything. It's just sending an order to the market, taking an Autospreader order to the market, taking its fill, and then it's showing how it's parsing out that data, how you can use it later to build more complex and comprehensive algos. All right, that is the first one that we're going to cover here. Next, we're going to go and we'll build our own OTA algo, which is an order ticket algo. That when we set, will work to buy the Autospreader instrument, and once filled, place a profit order, a user-defined amount of ticks away. So this one is actually going to be a little bit more complex, and it's actually going to have some real logic behind it as well. Still not too deep though. Again, an algorithm in ADL can be designed as an OTA, which means that the algorithm can be launched directly from either the MD trader or the order ticket widget, as you would any other type of order. The OTA functionality is especially useful for strategies that require a fast, single-click style of execution. All right, so I'm just going to open this up, and we'll look at it on the canvas here. So open to the OTA one. All right. Go ahead. Oops. All right. Like this. Right. So what this one here is going to do is, like we said, we have it on, we're using the Brent that we were using before. You can see right here, I added it. And what this is doing here is it's taking this out, and it's showing the minimum price increment as well as 0.1 tick. That's important because later we're going to have to use that for our profit taking, how many ticks we're going to go. So here's the instrument. Again, the jump block coming to here. Here, the minimum price is actually going to come way over to that spot over here, which we'll connect later. We'll talk on. Let me just move this over. Sorry. There we go. All right. Again, OTA block again here. We have our number blocks. Order quantity, order price coming in. Here you'll notice though that we have it, order spreader is false here. We're not looking to pull all that information out here. All we care about is the fills. We want to know what our fill price is and how many fills did we get, right? So once the fill price comes through here, then it's going to run through this section over here, and we have it coming in. And here it's going to go ahead, the minimum price increments. It's then going to say, all right, on this number block, I want to be able to then, and you can adjust this later. We'll show it on the front end on the platform. 2 ticks comes through here, and then comes into this section, into this order block here. And again, when exit mod, everything will stop right here. So when this gets filled, it comes through here. It's going to go ahead. It's going to take its fill. And with this logic that we're looking at here, it's going to understand that it's going to release a profit 2 ticks higher into the market, and then this algo will stop working. Bring this down a little bit. All right, and like I said, we could do this on any one of our order spreaders if we wanted to. So here, we'll come down. I've selected this order spreader right here. I can come down to this section. OTA algos. We have a few that are available if you're a pro user. I have some others that I created, but here are the 2 that I deployed before. Right now, we're going to be using this OTA algo. Here's the flyout that I spoke on before. Again, we had it set at 2, but I can make it 3 ticks if I want, or whatever I wanted to. Go ahead here. I'm going to try, place this order. I'm working 2 lots right there. And now I'm filled. And now I set it at 3 and it released, and now I'm working a profit 3 ticks higher. Let's take a look inside our order book right here. So the purple line here, that's a working algo with children. So here's my algo that I'm also working outside of this algo. I'm sorry, this is the order spreader I'm working. The algo is driving the order spreader. It went ahead, and now I'm working to sell 2. I'm working to sell 1 of the June on my quoting order right there. Right here, I went ahead, and before I got filled at 01. So now I'm working this order here at a level of 04. Yep, I did 3 ticks higher, and I can check that too as well. So if I come here, right there on the algo, if I highlight it, it'll bring it up to here. And then I can even change this if I wanted to. I can make this 4 ticks. Now I'm working it up at 5. I have this one working. If I wanted to use it on a different, I could bring this up right now. And you'll see right here, again, that OTA algo that I created is available. I could even create custom action buttons if I wanted to. I could create a template for specific profit and ticks for different markets. And then I could go ahead and edit custom action buttons. And I could go order type. I could come down to here. And I could actually choose it. And then I could choose the template that I created. Hit OK, and it appears here. I click that, it'll automatically come with anything I had saved. And I could have upwards of 10 of these if I wanted to, with different labels for different markets. And then quickly, as I chose, I can then choose the template I want and then place the order. All right, so that is simply 2 ways that you can use Autospreader inside ADL. Now, let me come back again. This one is a simple algo that, again, it's taking an Autospreader order. It's taking its fill and then releasing a sell order on the opposite side for a profit determined on what the profit is that you want it to be. And then the other one here that we had, it's just a simple, sorry. This one here, This would be the beginning of a larger algo if you wanted to. This is the first steps here. You're bringing in your Autospreader. You're saying, okay, when it gets filled, I want to be able to extract all this information again. So I'll leave that on my screen for a moment or two. Everyone can take a look. One last look. All right, let me move back onto the platform here. I'm going to cancel these working orders just to clean it all up a little bit. All right, and another thing that that's beneficial that we like to cover here as well is viewing multiple order spreaders using the same ADL algo in an auto trader, where then you can control it. So here you would go to widgets, and then you come down to automation, and then you can open up Auto Trader. From here, I'm just going to go ahead and launch a couple different of these OTA algos again. So I'll come down here. Do another one here in a different market. Okay, so here, as normal, I could look at them inside my order book, but it gets a little hard to control and see, and I have all these different children. So what's nice about the ability to use Auto Trader here, I could just go ahead, launch the algo, and it'll show me everything that's running. So from here, I can adjust the account if I wanted to, if I needed to, the order price if I needed to, the order quantity if I needed to, the profit and ticks that I had, any of the variables that I allowed on the OTA algo, I can adjust here. And I could cancel the order here if I wanted to as well. Just text TT, and then add and remove other columns if I needed to. So this gives it an easier way for you to manage all the different order spreaders that may be running off of that one algo that you have working. Much cleaner, much easier view than looking at it right here. I mean, I still can, and I can adjust it there, but here you see it's just quicker. So now what I actually like to talk about is using TT.NET SDK to manage order spreader. So controlling order spreader with an API. This is very useful, especially when launching dozens of order spreader spreads, since managing this manually can be error prone and slow. It also allows you to drive your spreader prices programmatically. There are 3 steps to launch and manage an order spreader from TT.NET SDK. First, determine which order spread definition you want to use. If you have spreads already configured within the order spreader widget, you can use TT.NET SDK to fetch those spread definitions. You can also create a new order spreader spread definition from scratch or edit an existing one within TT.NET SDK. Then you could subscribe for your spreads market data. So that's order spreader market data there. Once you have the instrument corresponding to your spread definition, you can subscribe for the market data for these instruments by following the same steps as you would for an exchange native instrument. And then launching the order spreader spreads. You launch order spreader spreads by following the same steps as you would for an exchange native order. As an order spreader orders are requoted filled, you will receive order update fill messages for each leg order, as well as fill messages for the parent order. So if you do want more information in regards to using TT.NET SDK, you can reach out to your sales representative, or you could go to our website where we have a pretty comprehensive documentation as well. Or you can send a question here and we'll send back some information and then we'll connect you with anyone further if needed. All right, next we're going to talk a little bit about, again, we covered this on the last webinar as well, but this is order spreader latency versus general pool servers versus dedicated prime. In a standard order spreader deployment, when you share order spreader and exchange order connector components with other users in TT's co-located data centers, these order spreader services run on industry-leading hardware. But due to the equitable distribution of resources, there is latency encountered due to the gen pool sharing of all users that is dependent upon machine load. In a TT Prime deployment, the order spreader and exchange order connector components are combined into a single process on a reserved server for only those users which you specify. TT Prime is then a premium version of order spreader, which combines the spreading logic with direct exchange connectivity for market data and order routing into a single process. This significantly increases the performance and reduces latency by more than 85%. So here you can see order spreader latency shows requotes at 175 microseconds and hedges at 225 microseconds on standard. But then when you get if you're on a TT prime, you come down, I mean, significantly. With TT prime, it requotes at 25 microseconds and hedges are at 50 microseconds. So there's a great benefit, especially anything that you're doing with ARB. You know, if there's an opportunity there where you really need to be more latency sensitive in the market with your Autospreaders, you should be looking into TT prime. So once again, reach out to any of your sales representatives, any contacts that you have if you want more information, or send us a question and we'll send over more information and connect you with the local sales representative for your account. All right, so then this gets us to the end of this webinar. This is actually the end of this series, this Autospreader series. So in the first one, we covered the fundamentals of Autospreader, which was the benefits of spread training and the basic configuration. The second one, we did some practical use cases where we covered 6 different examples of all real-world use cases. And now this last one, we went through the advanced use cases where we used Aggregator as a leg of Autospreader. We used ADL to begin to control and actually control Autospreaders. We showed how ADL can take the information from the Autospreader and parse it out to other components where then that can be run further from ADL. And then also we talked about controlling Autospreader with the API. Again, see that link right there at the bottom. You can go to there, and that's to view all of our webinars. This one, again, will be posted in a week or so after some editing. And then we'll also make announcements on our next series there. All right, Amr, I think I'm going to hand it back to you at the moment.
All right, sounds good. Thanks very much, Brian.
Yep.
We hope that you found our last Autospreader webinar very informative and helpful, and hopefully that you have learned how to utilize this powerful tool alongside TT's other automated functionality. If you have any questions about this webinar or any of the previous webinars we've run, we've done 2 on Autospreader and 1 on the premium order types, please send them over to training-ux@trainingtechnologies.com, and we'll be sure to answer those questions as quickly as we can. Like Brian mentioned, all our previous webinars can be found on our website by navigating to trainingtechnologies.com and clicking on resources and then webinars. Thank you again for attending today, and we look forward to seeing you on our next TT Live webinar, where we will be showcasing the differences between a standard and a pro license and discussing the benefits of both. This webinar is going to start off our new series on execution tools. So there'll be 4 webinars in the new series that is going to be upcoming. Thanks again for joining us today. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.